What a matchup we have here. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Two teams who fight it out in the La Liga each and every year for City's bragging rights. Of course, this is a replay of the 2014 Champions League Final when these two teams met in the Champions League Final of that year. It finished 4-1 with Real Madrid winning in extra time. Really can't wait for this game. This is a preview of the 2016 UEFA Champions League Final between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Well, hello everyone and welcome to a preview of the 2016 UEFA Champions League Final, which will be played between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, La Liga's biggest rivals, to be quite honest. And well, this is going to be a fantastic match. Of course, this is a replay of the 2014 Champions League Final where Real Madrid blew Atletico Madrid away in extra time, winning 4-1 after a 1-1 draw at the end of normal time. So really looking forward to this match. Let's get straight in to the preview and we'll start with the basic match information. So the 2016 UEFA Champions League Final between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid will be played Sunday the 29th of May at 4:45 AM Australian Eastern Time. Now this game will be played at Milano and really looking forward to this game. It's going to be a massive Champions League final. Just can't wait. Okay, so let's get stuck in now to the Champions League history for these two sides. I'll start with the mighty Real Madrid, and they have won 10 Champions League finals. They've actually been pretty successful in winning Champions League titles, especially in the 1950s, starting from 1956 where they won 5 Champions League titles in a row. Now after their last one in 1960, they had a bit of a drought before coming back a couple of years later and winning the 1966 Champions League title. Their last Champions League title was just a couple of years ago in 2014, of course, against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have never won a Champions League title. However, they've been runners-up on 2 occasions in their only 2 Champions League finals. Their first Champions League final where they came runners-up was back in 1974, and their last Champions League final was, of course, in 2014, as I mentioned, when they got beat in extra time against Real Madrid. Okay, time now to have a look at the road to the Champions League final for these two clubs. I'll start with Real Madrid, and they were in Group A for this year's Champions League. They were in a group with PSG, Malmo and Shakhtar Donetsk. They were seeming to be the favourites to finish top of the table in this group, although PSG was probably close second because they are not a bad side. They started off their Champions League campaign in good fashion at home against Shakhtar Donetsk, winning 4-0 before going away from home and winning 2-0 against Malmo. So already they got 2 dominant wins in their first 2 group matches of the Champions League. They then went to PSG's home ground in France, Paris, where that game finished 0-0. So that was their first game of the Champions League where they dropped points, although it was away from home. They returned at home against the same side, PSG, and won that game 1-0 before winning away from home against Shakhtar Donetsk 4-3. So they conceded 3 goals in that game, which was a bit interesting. But anyway, in their final group match, they were able to get a massive 8-0 win against Malmo. In the round of 16, they were up against Roma, and in the first leg, they were away from home and pretty much wrapped it up in the first leg by getting a 2-0 win. If you get away goals in the first leg and well, the other team doesn't get any in there at home, then you're pretty much wrapping up the game, aren't you, in the first leg. And then in the second game, they were able to make it 2-0 again, so they won 4-0 on aggregate. In the quarterfinals, they were up against Wolfsburg, and this one was an interesting one because in the first leg they were away from home again, but they actually lost the first leg 2-0. So going into the second leg, they were down 2-0, and they had to kick 3 goals to get themselves back into the game and win the match. They did that. They won 3-0 in the second leg at home, and it finished 3-2 on aggregate, and they were through the semi-finals against Manchester City. In the first leg of the semi-finals, they were again away from home, finished 0-0 in that game, but then at home in the second leg, they were able to get a 1-0 win, and they are now through to the 2016 UEFA Champions League Final. Atletico Madrid were in Group C for this year's Champions League, and they were in a group with Benfica, Astana, and also Galatasaray. Now, they versed Galatasaray in their first match away from home, where they got a good 4-0 win, but they were at home in their second game, but lost to Benfica 2-1. In their third game, they got a 4-0 win back at home against Astana before going away from home and versing the same team, but getting a draw and dropping points 0-0. They then versed Galatasaray again in their second last match of the group stage, and they won that one 2-0 at home. And then away from home against Benfica, they were able to bounce back after that 2-1 loss to them in the first match at their home ground, Atletico Madrid. They won this one 2-1 against Benfica. So they were through to the round of 16, and they were versing PSV. The first leg against PSV in the round of 16 finished 0-0, and then the second leg, well, it finished 0-0 again, especially after extra time. So what does that mean? It goes to penalties, and well, they were able to win what was a thrilling penalty shootout. They won this one 8-7 on penalties, and they were through to the quarterfinals. Now, the quarterfinals were pretty tough for them because they were up against Barcelona in the first leg at Camp Nou. Now, of course, Barcelona finished top of the table in La Liga, and, well, Real Madrid finished second, and they finished third. So this was always going to be a tough match for Atletico Madrid, and it proved that way in the first leg because they lost this one 2-1 away from home, but they were able to get a 2-0 win at home in the second leg, which was fantastic for them. It means they finished 3-2 on aggregate, and they were through to the semi-finals. In the semi-finals, they're up against Bayern Munich. This was another tough one for Atletico Madrid. Probably in the past haven't been able to win these ones, but I tell you what, they got off to a good start in the first leg, won 2-0 at home. This was the test, though, going away from home. And, well, it finished 2-1 with them losing, but it finished 2-2, and because of the away goals, because of their only away goal, they won on away goals 2-2. So devastating for Bayern Munich, but Atletico Madrid were through to the Champions League Final after that win on away goals. Okay, time now to look back on the past 4 meetings between these two sides, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Of course, they have had some matches in the La Liga in the last I guess few months, and of course they've also had a Champions League match in the quarterfinals of last year. This was their last Champions League match, so they actually versed each other in the quarterfinals. In game 1, they finished the game 0-0. This was at Atletico Madrid's home ground, and then in the second leg in this quarterfinal Champions League match, Real Madrid were able to win it 1-0. Now, in the 5th of October 2015 in the La Liga, they met again at Atletico Madrid's home ground. That game finished 1-1. And then in their recent meeting in February, Atletico Madrid won from home at Real Madrid's home ground 1-0. So in the last 4 matches, Real Madrid have won 1, Atletico Madrid have won 1, and then 2 have been drawn. Okay, so time now to have a look at the key player for each side for this Champions League final. I'll start with Real Madrid, and well, this bloke might be arrogant to some people, and he probably is to an extent, but he is a very good player, you must admit, Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I haven't just picked him out because he's probably the world's best player, but I've actually picked him out because he is 16 goals. He's got 16 goals in the Champions League this season. That is more than anyone else in the Champions League this year. The next best is actually 9 goals, so you can just see how many goals he's actually scored in the Champions League this year. It's absolutely incredible. Lewandowski is the next best at 9 goals. His bag of tricks is basically an influence on this side, and I reckon if he's got that in this final, then they will win it, because he's just a great influence on this side in terms of his playing style and his skillful movement of the ball and what he's able to do each and every week for this Real Madrid side. And by the way, I was reading before that he's staying at Real Madrid, so he's not going anywhere. Real Madrid fans will be happy about that. Okay, so my key player for Atletico Madrid is actually the goalkeeper, Jay Oblak. He is joint second for saves in the Champions League this season, and he's also second for clean sheets with 8 clean sheets. So he's got a habit of having some days where he's actually having a clean sheet. So that's very good for an Atletico Madrid point of view, and I reckon if he has a clean sheet, they'll win the match, because he's in good form, and yeah, if he's in good form, they'll win the match, that's for sure. Okay, so time for my tip for this year's 2016 Champions League Final. Just can't wait for this match. It is early in the morning here in Australia, but it's definitely going to be worth it, because I really enjoyed this match against these two in the 2014 Champions League Final. It was just stunning what Real Madrid did in extra time against Atletico Madrid, where they blew them away, kicking 3 goals to win 4-1. It was just absolutely incredible. I'm going to tip Atletico Madrid, though, to win this one 2-1. I think it's about time they win a Champions League trophy. I think they're in good form. Real Madrid's probably in better form, but I think Atletico Madrid going into this one, they've been right up the noses of Real Madrid in the La Liga table throughout the year. Atletico Madrid actually came third. Real Madrid came second. But it was only by a few points, I believe, Real Madrid actually came second to Atletico Madrid. So I think this is going to be a good match. I think Atletico Madrid is going to win this match 2-1. It might go to extra time. It may go to penalties, but I don't think it will go to extra time. I think it will be decided at full time that Atletico Madrid will win 2-1. It's going to be a good game. And that does it for this preview of the 2016 UEFA Champions League Final. Hope you enjoyed this preview. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to like, comment and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I do plenty of other content on this channel as well. And until next time, enjoy the Champions League Final on Sunday. I'm Jacob. Bye for now.